Yes, I am still here. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that as an affirmation. Depression is not, unfortunately, one size fits all. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't want to assign a value to it. It looks different for everyone. Sometimes it's chemical, sometimes it's biological, it can be environmental. So what works for one person might not necessarily work for the next. What I will say is that self-expression is huge. Having a container in which to put what is boiling up inside of you, your anger, your fear, your guilt, your shame, finding ways to get that out. Maybe it's on paper, maybe it's on a canvas, maybe it's a jog around the school track. Just get it out of you. As soon as it bubbles up, work to get it out. Another thing is self-care. Just moments where I am doing what I need to do to make sure that I vibrate at the right frequency. That might look like burning some sage. That might look like dinner out with a friend. It might look like a bath with Epsom salts. Just the things that I need to do for myself that are small, doable, affordable, that nourish me. I think often we neglect ourselves. We focus on things in the external, but there's a lot here that needs attention. The other thing I would do is to make sure that you are talking to yourself in a way that is loving and supportive. It became clear to me at a certain point in my life, I've had friendships. I've been a good friend to people, and when a friend is in crisis, I know how to be there for them. I know how to hold a space that looks like listening. It looks like support. It looks like a back and forth. Maybe it just looks like a hug. Maybe it looks like being silent and just holding their hand. I know how to do that for a friend. I realize that when I am in crisis, when I have quote unquote fucked up, my response is, "You fucking idiot." You know, how could you? Of course. What did you expect? If I spoke to my friends like I used to speak to myself, I would have no friends. So what I started to pay attention to was how I spoke to myself out loud and in my head. And in your head is a much more difficult conversation, but you can, I judge, control the words that come out of your mouth. So if you do talk to yourself out loud, and I do, make sure that the words are loving and supportive and nourishing. Start the work of being your own best friend. There are a lot of people who know someone in crisis, but they're not sure what to say. Maybe they're worried about saying the wrong thing. My suggestion would be to start there. Approach that person and say, "I don't know what to say, and I'm worried about saying the wrong thing. But I see you, I feel like something's going on. I want you to know that I'm here for you. If you need support, I can offer you that. You tell me what that looks like." And that way you've acknowledged that you're unsure, you don't know what to do or say. You've acknowledged that you see them, they feel seen, they feel heard and acknowledged, which is huge for someone who's in crisis. Often people will turn a blind eye out of fear. They will just hope that that person kind of fixes themselves, and I hope you pull yourself together and then come back to us when you're fine. But it also starts a dialogue, and that's important. And then once you're dialoguing with that person, once they feel like they have your support, and once you've given them ownership of the conversation by saying to them, "You tell me what support looks like," it allows them to feel like they are to a degree in charge of what's going on with them, like they get to make decisions, which might be a new experience for them in depression, in anxiety. Then you can start to explore what other resources are available. It's one thing to be depressed or have to deal with anxiety. It's another to also have to work to cover that constantly. And I spent a great deal of my life pouring a lot of time and energy into covering, into pretending that everything was fine. And now I don't have to do that. Like that time and energy I can now put somewhere else. And that's been huge for me personally and creatively. There was an opportunity to reply to a meme that went around not too long ago. I saw it come up in my social media feed a couple of times. It struck me, it upset me, and then I did the work of getting that out, and I put it down on a piece of paper. I decided to post that. It wound up on Facebook, and then it went to a lot of different places, and it spoke to a lot of people about different things: suicide, depression, body issues, fat shaming. And I was able to get it out of me, which felt good. And then I was also able to see that my process of self-expression, which is inherently, I think, self-centered, and I use that phrase in a positive way, can also be of service to others, because I was able to put something into words that a lot of people could relate to, but wouldn't necessarily speak to themselves for whatever reason. And that was heartening. That gave me encouragement that when I go to those places and acknowledge, this is hard for me, this is fearful for me, this is a place where I feel shame, I am going to those places that everyone would want to go to if we had permission, which ties back concretely for me to what it is to be an actor. One of my coaches used to say that acting it's considered a noble profession because an actor spends their lives running toward the experiences and the emotions that the average person spends their lives running away from. That's why it's so important that we have actors, because through them and their sharing and their storytelling, we all get to experience collectively a kind of catharsis and transformation. When I'm playing a scene in Prison Break and I'm Michael Scofield and I'm having to rage at someone or grieve or conjure up fear, I will draw on my own experiences. And over the course of X number of takes, because they'll put the camera in different places and they'll shoot your coverage, they'll shoot your scene partner's coverage. If the scene is me getting throttled, I'll have to be throttled 30 or 40 times. And at a certain point, my body starts to believe that I'm actually being throttled because I'm selling the reality of that situation. I don't remember in acting class anyone ever teaching me about what happens when you're done with the scene and they send you home for the day, and that thing is still in you, that, I just spent the last 3 hours being throttled. Now that ties in with my sense of how important it is to self-care. A day at the spa will stress me out. I don't find that to be a relaxing experience. I would much prefer to sit down on a bench for 5 minutes, to sit down, to take a breath, to take a moment, even if it's for 5 minutes, for me makes a world of difference. I think the more people that speak about depression, I believe Bruce Springsteen has just written an autobiography where he speaks to depression's influence in his life. That expands people's sense, his audience, his fans, his readers, of what it is permissible to talk about. I think we have to be willing to talk about uncomfortable things, unspeakable things that remain unspoken. That creates a wall of silence. And on the other side of that wall, people are suffering. So we have to be brave, and in our own time and way, and in a way that feels safe for us, enter into these conversations and start breaking down stigma. And I think that's how it's done, by talking about it, by being open about it, when and if it feels safe and comfortable and right for you.